several things that I'm sure we all have noticed about this video that definitely don't make sense as to why, and the reasoning behind them taking place. But one thing that we want to point out, first of all, at the end when the officer said that that was an area nobody walked in, and that was one of the biggest reasons, one of the most important reasons why they had a problem and the call came in. After we went out to that area, took pictures, did video in that area, that area, which is a green belt, which we know is a area that's undisturbed by commercial building and whatnot. It's a nature area. There are several trails in that area, but it is littered with trash. There has been a lot of activity in that area. There is a shopping cart in that area full of clothes. There's clothing on the floor, on the ground. There is an old barbecue pit. There's a road sign out there. Several items that are out there. And as we did our investigation, we pulled the calls from that area to find out if there had been any other calls of any other suspicious activity. Ironically, there had not been one call from that area as to the activity that had taken place in that area. So there are several things that are inconsistent that we have noticed and that stand out to us in the NAACP. Also, when the fact that they asked Mr. Williams for his social security number, we questioned the chief of police about that and asked him, was that standard procedure? And he said his reasoning behind it was that when there's a person that has a name that's common, that they will ask that many times. But I don't know of any situation where someone's social security number, it has to be given in a police stop like that. And as a result of that, we have gotten information from Mr. Williams and a family member that his social security number is now floating out there, and people have gotten a hold to his social security number and are causing problems and potential problems. So that is something that has arisen from this particular incident. Also, the fact of the tape measure that the police said that after questioning the man that worked in the area, that Mr. Williams, they alluded that Mr. Williams had committed a theft. And anyone knows that if you're in a public area and you see something on the ground and you pick it up, that is not theft. And our police department has said that constituted theft. And we definitely questioned them about that on last Friday, and they stuck by it. And they have stuck by everything that they have said, and that's why we are here today. Because we want to make sure that our position is clear, that because of a suspicious call by a caller does not constitute for an investigation to turn into an interrogation. There is no reason why any citizen that has been given inalienable rights, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. Now we know Mr. Williams is a nature person, he likes nature, and because he was in those woods, I walked in that area and looked at it and whatnot. He was in that area, and because he was in that area, you might not particularly be the type of person to be in an area, and I might not be the type of person that would go into, but that was his idea of taking some time out before the banquet and getting some fresh air. But did he commit a crime? And the answer to that is no, he did not commit a crime. But he was harassed, and we know that the precipitation of these type of stops have resulted in people losing their life. Tamir Rice, a 12-year-old, going back to the caller, why information is so important for citizens to make sure that they give good information and we be responsible. There's nothing wrong with making a call on someone that is suspicious around your house. We encourage you to, and the police of course have to respond, but as citizens, we have to be responsible in the information that we give. And Tamir Rice, a 12-year-old, lost his life because a caller called and said that there's a man in the park with a gun. The police rolled up. 2 seconds later, Tamir Rice lost his life as a 12-year-old playing in the park. Alton Sterling, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, a caller called and said he had a problem with Mr. Sterling. The police came. Ultimately, Alton Sterling lost his life. The information when callers call is important that dispatch does take accurate information and disseminates that to officers so that officers have accurate information and when they approach citizens, that the investigation is thorough and it is accurate in the information that is given. So there are several inconsistencies in this that we see, and as the NAACP, we cannot stand by and say that everything is okay. And we want to make sure that our position is clear. And at this time, I'm going to read a statement from the NAACP. The Smith County chapter of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, Unit 6232, chartered in 1946 in Tyler, Texas, is obligated and has the duty and responsibility of working closely with the city of Tyler, Texas, to ensure the political, educational, social, and economic equality of rights of all persons, and to eliminate racial hatred and racial discrimination, which holds to the mission of the oldest civil rights organization in America, founded in 1909. The vision of the association is to ensure a society in which all individuals have equal rights and there is no racial hatred or racial discrimination. The confidence that we have in the city of Tyler and the police department that employs officers that are sworn to protect and serve has been challenged by the incidents that occurred on January the 11th, 2017, involving Eric Lynn Williams, publicly known as Heisman and retired NFL player Mr. Ricky Williams. While visiting Tyler, Texas as a guest of Mr. Earl Campbell, Mr. Williams took a walk in a greenbelt area next to his hotel. A non-emergency call was placed by a citizen and described Mr. Williams as a suspicious black man in the area behind his backyard. This area is littered with clothing, as before stated, trash, and numerous other items. No cause of concern for this area had been placed prior to the citizen's call. The dispatcher's call went out to officers and they responded by an informal investigation of the area, and upon speaking to a worker in the area was told a possible theft of a tape measure by Mr. Williams, As Mr. Williams re-entered the adjoining parking lot of his hotel, 4 officers approached. There he was searched and frisked. Before properly addressing and identifying Mr. Williams, an officer emptied his pockets of personal items. Although it was done with his consent, the investigation turned interrogation for a questionable and unreasonable amount of time by these 4 police officers with inadequate information that still has not been verified as true. It's clear racial profiling. Also, derogatory comments were made in stereotypical reference to race and particular the area of town. These statements have offended a large number of citizens, which has put this city in a very damaging place and time before an entire nation. The embarrassment that this city and its citizens have suffered in the mishandling of this encounter with the police must be answered, and the officers must be held accountable. This is the exact type of tension that communities and police departments face all across the country and forces the challenge of trust. The opportunity to get this right is incumbent on us all at this moment. Liberty is the state of being free within society from oppressive restrictions imposed by authority on one's way of life, or simply put, the power or scope to act as one pleases. What this situation seems to say is that this only pertains to certain people at certain times in certain places. It is the position of the Tyler NAACP, Unit 6232, that Mr. Ricky Williams be given a public formal apology by the city and officials. Also, the police officers involved be given a formal reprimand and placed in their files. Given the fact that this was the training opportunity of 2 rookie officers and 2 senior training officers, speaks to part of the problems and training we all face in the challenge of recruitment and retention. Also, there should be a full review of the following procedures: questions asked by dispatchers to be thorough and information to be accurate that is relayed to officers. 2, sensitivity training and questioning of citizens in response to non-emergency calls. This is the position of the NAACP at this time in reference to this incident. And at this point, we're going to have a statement read from Mr. Aaron Ross, who's a 2-time Super Bowl winner. Sent this to us, our second